Oh, what's that?
99.9% of everything that's ever existed is extinct. And I think the majority of that are just beetles.
Okay. Uh, Welcome to Maybe Recommend, a show where we talk about movies, music, and more. Joined with me, as always, is Sean.
Hey,
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty awesome. Yeah.
And we're absent Otis today,
Yeah.
but we do have the opening intro of The Death of Billions of Beetles.
He is alive, right, Otis?
Oh, yeah, Otis.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the listeners
He's
knew.
just very, very busy opening his new
But
part.
Otis is not dead.
Yeah, well, we did an episode without you last week.
Well, yeah, I was almost dead. I had COVID and got pneumonia.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you listened to the show, you would have heard how we were very sensitive to that topic.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. It was,
Yeah.
it was rough.
We were not mocking.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, pneumonia and COVID together, that's like, I'm honestly surprised you were alive. Like, I lost contact with you, and I was like, I better go poke that body to see if
Yes. Yeah,
you know.
it was rough. The third,
So I sent some very sensitive text.
you did. You said, "Hey, are you alive?" Well, no, you asked me in Spanish, correct? Yeah.
I think I said, "What's up
Yeah.
with me?" or something like that. Kid Possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but alive and
That's
pretty
right.
well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The third round of COVID was rough. So I've had it 3 times.
So soon after your last round of COVID, too.
Yeah, I mean, what was October? So yeah, but I'm around it almost every day. So to be fair, it's just I'm surprised I haven't had it more.
That's right. I forgot you're, for the audience, they don't know this, that you're a bug chaser.
I am. Yeah. So I was really happy when I got it.
Yeah. It's not even it's Munchausen syndrome, not even Munchausen syndrome.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to
I never. Wow.
yeah, then have people pity him.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, we all have ways that we navigate life, right? And sympathy is fantastic. That's interesting. I didn't think that I would end up being called a bug chaser. But I feel like
Bug
it's
chaser.
almost
Well, that has a very specific connotation. I should probably
no. That's I like. I don't
pedal
care.
that
I don't care. I just think it's interesting, considering the movie we're talking about too. I mean, that would work better with
Oh,
the
that's
sequel.
today we're talking about.
But
Oh, that's true.
yeah,
This is not another bug,
right,
they say.
right.
And then you don't know what that means. Yeah. Yeah, today is Alien. 1979's Ridley Scott's Alien theatrical release of Sigourney Weaver and her a theatrical masterpiece.
It's fantastic. I've got a really low bar, and that pretty much crosses it. So
just stumbles over
yeah,
to a victory. Yeah, I wholeheartedly recommend this movie. I'm just going to get that right out of the way. It's a great movie. But for the generation that we're trying to reach, the people we're speaking to, the younger audience, this is not going to appease you, I think, unless you're really into cinema. Like, the pacing is very slow.
yes,
It's very slow. Like, you get an hour into the movie before your first person is even affected.
right. I will say this: it's slow, but when you compare it to because I consider it it's hard sci-fi, but it's also kind of a slasher film. As far as the way the
Oh, yeah,
right,
absolutely.
and so when you compare it to slashers of the time, Halloween,
Yeah.
but also the first Friday the 13th is incredibly slow. It's so slow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
It makes sense.
the pacing of the '70s is very slow for the most part. I mean, this is the frenetic chop house, like, grindhouse movies and stuff like that, but, this is it's a cerebral horror film that happens to take place in space,
Yes.
you know? It yeah, it is very cosmic horror. I mean,
Yeah.
Lovecraft and, H.R. Giger are, very much intertwined,
Yeah, I would
you
agree
know?
with that.
Like, yeah, and, I mean, the non-Euclidean architecture of the alien spaceship should give you that away.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, the vaginal openings is very geeker. It's very phallic and yoni-ish,
Yeah.
I should say, his art style, but,
Incredibly so.
one of the things about this is yeah, we're talking about, movies that you're talking about, Halloween and stuff. They did a good job at the box office. This only cost $11 million to make
Mhm.
and gained $184 million.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know what
Yeah, it's quite a
right.
turnaround.
I don't know what the return was on, like, say, Halloween, as far as if the percentage was higher,
Mhm.
but that formula in that time was really kind of insane. Because, some of those movies were made for, like, a couple hundred grand, and they would just rake in millions, but that is insane. Oh,
You're
hmm?
you're absolutely right. Halloween cost like $300,000 to make, and we talked about this in the past,
Yeah,
and it made 70 million. So
right.
the turnaround is pretty good. I mean,
But yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah, but
But
even 11,000,000.
11 and 170,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
like
that's a smash.
that's crazy. 184 million.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, a smash hit, like you said, 1979. I couldn't imagine this coming out. Like, Star Wars has set the bar
Right.
really high for what sci-fi should look like,
Right.
Because you went from Battlestar Galactica, right,
Mhm.
shiny, kind of weird space stuff, to, oh my God, is this real? Like,
Yeah.
are they filming in space?
Yeah, I
Like,
really think it
the model work on
further. Sorry.
just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then I'm not disappointed in the space effects in this movie either. I mean, completely keeping up with that aesthetic. Um, I really felt like they're on a spaceship.
100%. I think that's, uh, one of its strengths is it feels,
Mhm.
lived in, which I would argue that for the original Star Wars trilogy is everything looked
Oh,
like
yeah, absolutely.
you could use it, like people had been using it.
It's not just dirty, but yes, exactly. It's like there's a difference between dirty and just living.
Right. It
Like, you can tell a new pair of jeans from a worn pair of jeans,
right.
you know?
And it feels like, if it feels like you're getting a snapshot of something, right? Instead of
Yeah.
something that was created for the film, it feels like you're just getting a glimpse at something that has existed and will continue to exist. The world building, I think, is really good, and yeah, they sell it
Yeah.
with the effects are
And
minimal.
they don't answer a lot. Yeah, they throw out a ton of questions, but, not in the way of, we'll get back to it, but just, we're in an alien situation, having a foreign experience, and we can't explain it. Like, why is this guy giant and petrified?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't talk about that.
Yeah. We'll have to
You know?
kind of explain that. Um.
Oh, you know what? Let's do a brief synopsis.
Okay.
We always forget to do this in the beginning
Sure.
of the show. And that's, some commercial space truckers
Right.
in the Nostromo are tugging a shipment of
Some cargo.
rare elements, I think.
Yeah. I don't really remember what the cargo
I
was.
think it was elements like Earth, coal or something. And space truckers on the Nostromo going to Earth. They're in stasis. They get woken up. They think they're on their way to Earth. They find out that they're actually 10 months away from it.
Mm-hmm.
They were woken up early by the ship who's called Mother
Yep.
to go investigate a SOS call, or what they assume is an SOS call. And their very sketchy science officer is like, we should go check this out.
Huh.
They're like, okay. They land. They go to a very strange ship that is very, rounded corners, very interesting looking opening.
Yeah.
As they walk into it.
It doesn't.
And then no, it's not human. It looks organic on the inside. Well, like it looks like it's made out of bones and flesh, which is very cool.
It's really cool. It's odd that
I think the
it's odd to me that no one calls more attention to that. I mean,
yeah, they kind of accept it pretty easily. But I don't know, like, they know they went into the ship, but then he's like, as they're lowering him down into the lower part of what looked like another section of the ship, or maybe that was just part of the planet, I don't really know, where he finds the eggs.
Right.
So, getting ahead of myself again, they go into the ship, find a giant whose chest has been blown out by something. They think it was a heat exhaust or something.
It looks like a petrified
one of the characters finds a hole in the floor. It does, yes. He and Tom Skerritt's character mentions that. He says that he thinks it's petrified, that it had been there so long. And so John Hurt, we're just going to call him by their actors' names. He finds a hole in the floor, and they decide to lower him down into it, and he calls it a cave, but it's clearly, artificial at some of the walls, and there's some really cool effects with smoke and lasers.
Mm-hmm.
And he falls into a pit, and for some reason decides to look into what he clearly is calling eggs.
Yes.
That have openings, and it opens, so he puts face over.
Yeah, and it looks like raw chicken inside.
That's what you do.
Yeah. No,
He's like, oh, hey, it's moving.
That is kind of beyond me.
Like,
I know they needed. They needed that to happen, but that would not have been my response.
Oh yeah, as soon as I fell down with the eggs, I'd get back out.
Yeah, because
I'm not messing around with that.
Right, because you have to think that something laid those eggs, too.
Right, and there's not just like one or two. It's football fields full of like leather eggs.
Yes, real leathery.
Like, even if they were to hatch while I'm down there, I'm not going to want to be around whatever comes out.
Exactly.
I know what happens when spider eggs hatch.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I would have been just no, I would have passed on that. I've been like, oh yeah, hey guys, this pit's full of eggs. Pull me up.
Yeah, this looks like eggs.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Yeah. The credits roll.
Yeah. Yeah, they make it back to Earth. Oh man. So now we've got that set up. You want to take it from there?
Can I ask you real quick? So the science officer?
Sure.
The science officer, he came across
the sketchy Scott.
So that's what I was going to address. So, at that point in the film, you felt he was sketchy?
Well, okay. I can't separate my knowledge.
Fair enough.
From watching it again.
Fair enough.
So when I'm watching it, I totally see signs of him being kind of arch.
Yeah.
Like literally like,
yeah,
let's watch and see what happens.
I think, to be fair, I think that on, another viewing that you can see that, but I wish I could go back because I think I was really young when I saw it. I saw it at a friend's house, and I was plagued by nightmares. I was a really sensitive child, and my friend's dad I was waiting for my parents to get back from, I think it was like a, a Bible study or something, right? And so he has me lay on the couch, and I was like
Yeah.
anywhere from 8 to 10. I was somewhere in that range. And he goes, "Oh, let me put something on, you know, that you can chill out and fall asleep." And Alien was on TV. And so he left that on. Yeah. And it was,
Was it like the TBS cut or something though?
yeah, it had to be, I mean, an 80s TV cut, right? So, but that being
Yeah.
said, I was unable, I came in, I think about halfway into the movie, and I was terrified of
Okay.
what was happening, but I couldn't look away. So I
Mhm.
wish that I could have seen it. It would have been cool to like have been, late teens and watch it and just get kind of a, with a more developed brain, so I could, understand what was happening. But I was absolutely terrified for weeks. So yeah,
Well, that's because this movie does one thing so well that other slashers and whatnot don't really get. They get it kind of.
Mm.
This one is always there, that feeling that there's something behind you when you're in the dark, and there is.
yeah,
That's this movie.
right,
Like it you're always walking down the corridor and you're looking around, but you know it's behind you. And when you turn around, there's a monster.
right,
Like that's frightening, especially to a child.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not it like it also,
I'm in the dark room right now.
yeah,
And that's creeping me out to think of.
yeah, it's terrifying. So they get back to mother, the Nostromo,
Mhm.
and
The Nostromo.
we
Yeah.
have to put. So I said I've got to go back. So the egg opens up, and instead of like doing
Yeah.
the natural human thing and running, the guy puts his face in it so you can see, and it looks kind of like raw chicken to me, anyway. And
Kane.
it's pulsating.
John Hurt.
Huh? What?
Oh, given his name, John
Yeah,
Hurt.
John Hurt.
Character's name's Kane.
So
Yeah.
it looks like pulsating raw chicken, and he kind of leans in farther, and
Mhm.
then like something jumps out and attaches to his helmet, and they manage to get him out.
Yeah, and what's really weird. Yeah,
But the
well, you don't see the reveal of when they bring him back into the spaceship. So Sigourney Weaver's character, Ripley, everybody knows that. She denies them entry.
yeah,
Like she's like, no, you can't come on. There's quarantine procedures. Which I'm surprised this didn't take off in the 2020s. Like this would have been a great allegory for the coronavirus. Yeah, like I get the thing. The thing took off. People are rediscovering that movie, but like Alien would have been a good one.
yeah,
They breached protocols, and look what happened.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And so Tom Skerritt doing his best Chris Christopherson impersonation demands that they open it up, and she's like, no. And then our very sketchy science officer opens the door.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. They bring him in.
And what I wanted to get to that, to get to this, to say that it's embedded in his face plate.
Yeah,
It went through the glass.
yeah,
And it's kind of
like melted.
it's like looks like it kind of melted its
Yeah, it looks melted.
yeah.
Which is
It's really
yeah, it's super cool, and it's little details like that that I think elevate the film, right? Because that was clearly thought out, and actually the image of him laying there and this thing attached to him, because it's attached to his face, and with the melted, I'm assuming, I mean, whenever that his face shield is made out of. But that image sticks with me. I think
Yeah.
it stands out, right? Because they have to cut his helmet off.
glass or plastic or maybe mix of
Yeah, yeah.
some future material.
It-
Yeah.
It's the future. and they have to laser cut his helmet off, which is
Mhm.
a super cool scene. And you hear that. Actually, I remember um, the last time I saw it, the cracking of that helmet kind of made me jump. Yeah. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, I'll I'll cut to a little bit in the future when they're looking for the face
uh-huh,
hugger, after it's left, his
right.
face. When it falls down from the
Yeah,
ceiling onto Sigourney Weaver,
terrifying.
uh, total jump
Yeah,
scare.
yeah,
Got me.
yeah,
It got me. Yeah. Like, there's just that scene where you can see it coming down. You know it's coming
right.
down. You see it in the background,
Yeah.
and then it falls. It you know it's gonna happen, but boom. Like, I'm like, "Ah."
Well, that's the best kind of jump scare too, because if I remember correctly, there's no audio stinger. And we've already established what this
I
thing
don't think so.
does, right? So it just moving towards you, and once you get a look at it, I actually think the design. So the design of the main creature is brilliant, but the scariest things in that universe to me are
Yes.
the face huggers. They've kind of got a
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, they look uh like spider crabbish thing. They've got really long tails, and that's one of the things when they take the helmet off John Hurt, you see this thing's tail tighten around his neck, and
Yeah, and it pulls
yeah, yeah,
around his
and
neck.
so it's aware of what they're trying to do, or at least it at
Yep.
least knows that its
When
job
he
isn't
goes
done.
to
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, and when they're trying to pry its little
Yeah.
phalange, I think he calls it, and he goes, "Yeah, the finger," off of it because it looks like 2 hands put together at the wrist,
Yes.
grabbing, uh,
That's a great
Kane's head,
description.
and, I'm switching back and forth between characters and
Yeah,
actors.
that's good.
Uh, yeah, and so they go to pry the finger off of him, and you can see the tail wrap more around his neck. It's
Right.
fantastic.
Right. So
Great special
I
effects,
think that's a fantastic.
with one caveat.
What's that?
Oh, we'll get
Oh, okay. I thought you were
just
gonna
about
say it.
special
Okay.
effects.
So I was just gonna say I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever heard it described that well before. Uh, as far as the two hands, if you put your thumbs together and spread your fingers out and kind of at the wrist,
Yep.
and then add a tail, and it's flesh colored.
Yeah, where your thumbs would be, you could just grow that out into about like a 2, 3 foot
Right.
tail. Yeah.
That
And yeah, it's flesh colored.
it is the most terrifying design to me. Uh, I mean, these things they kind of scuttle, and there's nothing about them. I mean, they just look completely alien, um, which is the point. But the special effect
Yeah.
it looks like
They
something
did a great job of that.
right. It
Yeah.
looks like something that could exist. Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's completely foreign.
Yes,
Yeah. It
it
yeah,
makes sense.
and not so different that it's absurd.
Right,
Yeah, anatomically,
right.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
Like, it needs to have that shape in order to hold on to whatever's head. It's long enough fingers that it can wrap around different style heads,
right,
and it has an ovipositor in the center that reaches down into the throat, and we don't know what it's doing at this time. They think that it's helping him breathe for some reason,
right.
putting oxygen into the lung, which it might be.
I
It might be because you can see the air sacs moving.
I'm sure that there's an element of that because it would have to keep him alive.
Mhm.
Um, which
And I may have tipped it a little bit with the ovipositor, but it is in fact, yes, and embedding another life form.
yeah,
Like the way this creature's system work is so fascinating that they put this much behind it. Like it's almost like it's multi-staged
the life cycle
in
is
its
incredible.
evolution.
Yeah,
Like it's the yeah, yeah, it's a face hugger, but that's only in order to embed another egg. So it comes out of an egg,
right.
to embed another egg into the body of a host,
Yeah, it
and then it takes that host's form. Yeah.
it does feel that's interesting because it feels like two distinctly different creatures, but it's all part of the life cycle of one, which is it's
Yeah.
really cool.
I love that. I love that this is like it is so foreign to what the species of Earth is like that like it seems like, oh yeah, I can see that being the effect.
Yeah,
You know? Like that's how an alien would reproduce and thrive in different environments.
right.
You know, like it's the ultimate life form because it adapts, and that's what they talk about in the film is how it adapts.
Right. In fact,
Yeah.
I believe the sketchy science officer calls it like a perfect organism.
Mhm.
Exactly what it looks like. It looks like they had, the cast was still there, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Hey guys, we've got to reshoot this scene. You know, we've got to
Yeah.
shoot this scene." And so they had it bust out of them, and that was like
Yeah. And
where the
we're like,
effects stop.
we got the
And then,
we got the chest bursting budget to get something out of his chest. It's gonna look amazing,
right,
but we need that flesh puppet.
right, and
You
now
know?
here's the scene where it's on the table,
Yeah.
and
I want you to run down to Spencer's, get some Dracula teeth, and go get something off the back wall.
yeah, if I remember right, it's got a little
It's
metallic
got little
looking grill.
tiny teeth. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does. It looks
yeah,
up at him and is like, ah, and it turns, it pivots, it goes,
yeah, yeah.
rah, rah,
When it
and it
pivots,
runs.
that's when it becomes absolutely a comedy, and
Oh, absolutely.
it's the
Absolutely.
only time so this movie, I believe was
Deathly
terrifying.
serious.
It's a terrifying film, and there's that
Absolutely.
one
There's
moment.
dread. The only thing, like, if you could feel one feeling from this film, that's dread. It's a dreadful feeling that this movie puts forth to, except when it breaks that moment.
Right.
And then they're like, I don't know too much on that puppet. They were very impressed with it.
Yeah.
Like
What
too clear of a view.
I guess what's great about that scene, right, is
Hmm.
they're all sitting at the dinner table, and he starts convulsing, and his
Yeah.
chest pops open, and they're all horrified and shocked, and no one really knows what's happened, which is
Yeah.
fair, right?
Right.
And so, in that moment of confusion, that's when this thing jumps out and like skedaddles out of the room. And it's so bizarre because they still, I guess, are maintaining that like weird horror. We don't know what's happening, and they throw in
Yeah.
that effect, and it it
What
does
I
work. It's
do
funny.
I like that scene is, like, if you're watching Ash's face during that scene, it's so telling. It's wonderful. Like, the
Oh,
acting that's happening there is just the best.
oh, I'll have to go because I always focus on the alien. I
Yeah.
can't not look at it because it's so ridiculous. But I'm gonna go back and look at Ash because that that part of the film is cool.
Here, I just take a look at your phone there.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
this, like,
I'm afraid to
sliding
click
knob.
on that.
Oh, you should be. You should be. You should be afraid.
No, I just mean it'll
No,
mess
no,
up
I
the
mean that.
recording.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean too. So when we're done with it, I guess I could share my screen actually.
Why? Wait, why the chest burster is a master class?
I don't know, but there should be a GIF on top of that.
I haven't clicked on it. I just read the title when it went
Oh,
across my screen. I take some issue with that because I think part of it, yes, until you
yeah,
get to them pulling the Spencer's gift across the table.
yes, and you're right. But up until that point, like you've got a nice Bond villain moment with Doctor Who bonding with Chris Christopherson. I made that joke once already, but man, does he look like him?
Yeah, yeah, you did. You said he
Like
was doing his best Chris Christopherson impersonation.
yeah, Like, I was like, "Is that no, no,
He would have
that's Tom
he would have
Skerritt."
kicked ass in that role.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, I like Chris Christopherson quite a bit. I think Tom Skerritt's interesting guy too, though. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No shade to Tom Skerritt. I think he does great. I think
yeah.
one of the strengths is the cast. I mean, everyone sells it.
Yeah.
But
Did you know Tom
yeah,
Skerritt's 90 years old?
so that's what's crazy about this film is most of the cast are just absolutely ancient now.
Or dead?
Because yeah, because I can't remember. Oh man, it's a famous. I can't. His name escapes me, but he's part of the crew, um, and he worked a lot with David Lynch, and his name
Uh-huh.
absolutely escapes me. But he worked right until like the year he died, which was
Oh,
pretty.
you're talking about yeah,
Um,
Harry Dean Stanton.
yeah, Harry Dean Thank you.
Yeah, he lived to like be 100, didn't he?
Joe, he was so old.
91. He lived in
It
91.
okay,
Yeah.
and he looked it, but
Yeah,
the guy,
he did. Did you watch The Return?
I did.
I liked
I,
it.
oh, I loved it.
It was very controversial for people.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
really
right.
loved
You did. You told me you're going to see the scene that is the most lynching part, and you'll know when it is.
it.
And I was like, "Oh, yep, yep.
Yep.
I, there it is."
Yeah, it was so good, but he worked, I believe, right until, and I mean, this is way off topic, but like I think until the year he died, I think he was working on stuff. Like he did not stop.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me that Scared's that old. But it is surprising when you go back to this film because it was made in 78,
79, I think. Yeah.
79. So to
Yeah.
me, like it really doesn't feel like it. I mean, obviously
No,
that
it feels very contemporary to me because
right.
like you don't have a lot of telltale signs other than like, how their beer cans look. But like, everything else is very modern for future. Like it's classic clothing. You know,
Right, right.
like these are space truckers. They look like truckers have always looked, right?
Right.
They take their regular uniform and they kind of, you know, class it up to their station.
Yeah.
Like these are the engineers, these are the science officers, and like everybody like has the same outfit, but they made it
Yeah.
look their part. It's great. I mean, uh, yeah, and it looks as relevant. Like if this movie was made today using exactly the same clothing, exactly the same set, it would just be as it would be fine.
Right. So
Yeah,
the computer interfaces obviously are old, but it works. I
yeah,
forget what they call it. It's like retro future, like just
yeah.
people are doing that again. That look, because
You know the Yeah, the other thing was we don't have analog buttons really anymore.
yeah, that's true.
Like everything's a touch screen, and I was like, man, analog buttons were the way to go.
Yeah,
Like you can repair an analog button.
exactly.
Like
And
if your touch screen interface goes down, what are you gonna like click together to get it to show that that's a circuit being completed? Like
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
100%. I, I'm a fan. I mean, again, I'm old, but yeah,
yeah.
I like buttons on things. Feels like
That
I'm
was one
actually
of the
doing
first
something.
things I noticed. Like I'm talking about how timeless it is, but like when you go into the cockpit and there's like just panels of buttons, and then it comes up to an old CRT, you know,
Hmm.
uh, monitor with just
Yeah,
text on the screen. I'm like, oh, okay,
I mean, everything looks like it could function, and
mm,
I think again that's one of the strengths is you've got basically people who look like mechanics doing doing that job in space, and
yeah,
so
and they're
just
going to have to be there.
yeah, right.
Also the copious amount of smoking. Huh.
Oh yeah, smoking
That's
on the ship.
that isn't timeless. That is really interesting.
Yeah,
Like
that
everybody smokes.
yeah
Yeah.
that made now it would be touch screens and vapes.
Yeah, touch screens and vapes. That's right. It would be. Uh, Harry Dean Stanton's the first to die, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Outside of John
Uh,
Hurt.
right, right.
Yeah.
From the full grown, we've got to tell people that this thing grows into a behemoth in
Yeah.
what is it, hours? Maybe a day,
Oh, maybe let's be generous and say half a day.
half a day. Yeah. Becomes this gigantic, black, sleek, eyeless Hulk.
Yeah, it's very thin bodied, long elongated head,
Yeah.
you know,
Phallic.
with a like kind of a double jaw thing going on where it opens
Yeah.
its mouth and then there's a little mouth in there that pokes you right in the forehead.
And they bleed acid.
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrifying creature.
Yeah, it really is.
And
It's
if you haven't seen it, I mean, just do yourself a favor and Google aliens.
yeah, the
Yeah.
xenomorph is what they call it.
Xenomorph. Yeah, that's exactly right. With an F.
So I think the alien design is
Mhm.
probably the most like iconic, maybe outside. I know a lot of people are fans of the gray, what do they call them? Gray aliens, the grays, the classic like alien.
Yeah, right. That's right. Grays.
But for me, I think the xenomorph is probably um, the most recognizable like movie creature. Um,
Sure.
yeah, the thing is up there, but the thing really doesn't have
It doesn't have a shape.
a shape, right?
Yeah.
And so you just have these ideas of what it could look like, and obviously what it looked like in the movie. But the xenomorph is very iconic.
One of the things I like about the xenomorph is it's the top of its head
Mhm.
is very dark and smoky, but you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see through it and you can see a human skull inside there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that is really neat. Especially that's in the production skills or stills too.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
got a I guess like black translucent
Yeah.
skin.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really show very well on the film, but
No,
yeah.
there is a scene where the characters are guiding um, one of the characters through air ducts, and they're using motion sensors because they can track. They're getting movement from the creature on
Mm-hmm.
a motion sensor, and so they have to communicate to one of the characters who just has a radio and a flamethrower. And
Yeah.
there's a scene where he runs into it, and you get a pretty good look at the top of its head there because
Oh yeah.
it kind of it's hiding. That's its thing, right? It kind of
Yeah.
hides and attacks.
It's a stalker.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
there's a word for that.
yeah. It stalks its prey. It
Yeah.
hides in the shadows. It
Yes.
yeah. Now I am curious. I'm gonna just jump kind of towards the end here a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
when they airlock it essentially.
yeah, yeah.
Shoot it out into space, and then it gets around back behind, and it's on one of the thrusters,
Mhm.
which is amazingly shot.
Yeah,
Apparently, they dumped the swimming pool's worth of water out a light, its
right.
fixture to get that shot. And it blows the alien away, but it's so hard to kill that it's existing in the vacuum of space.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Feels
like
odd.
I kind of like to see more about like how that works.
Right,
Like,
right, right. Especially because in the sequel they killed there's a queen alien and they jettison her into space.
yeah, she just
And
out
I
there.
guess yeah, I don't know. I'm like
Just
maybe she's just floating around.
oh man, these movies get so bad.
Oh,
Like
they really did.
two is great.
Two's
You
fun.
know, it's really fun. It actually is my favorite of the Alien series.
Oh really?
Like, yeah, Alien is great and it's perfect for what it is, and like, but two is just so much fun.
Two is so two what I love about two is they could have
Mhm.
easily remade one, right? Where it's the slasher flick.
Right.
But James Cameron's like, no, do an action flick, and so
Yeah,
they
and
dump
then
a ton of them.
Space Marines.
Yeah,
They're like,
space. Yeah,
okay, they're like, we have a thing, and it's Space Marines, and they're gonna go out, and they have backstories and interactions with each other. It's just wonderful. It's a
yeah,
like it's such a fun movie. It it does not hold up to the same like cinematic masterpiece that Aliens is, because like like I said, it's got the feeling of dread, where the other one is like it like you said, it's an action movie.
right.
It you know I don't think it has the same lasting like I guess one's film and one's a movie. That kind of
Well,
feeling.
yeah, yeah. So like, well, one of the things the sequel does is it gives you more, right? Which doesn't really work in horror,
Hmm.
but it works in action.
It
So
really
like
does. Yeah.
at this point, it's cool because you always want to see more of the alien. It looks terrifying. And
Yeah.
so in Aliens, you get to. I mean, they're
Mhm.
everywhere. And then you
Well,
see the
yeah.
Queen, which is a fantastic design.
And they come out at night mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
So like so dumb.
It's dumb. You love it.
No, that it's a great franchise for the first two. Then they got the guy from City of the Lost Children on,
Oh,
and
oh my God. In
he clearly did not want to be there
in four.
in four. Yeah,
Yeah.
three is the prison one. We're just skipping over it.
Yeah, it's David Fincher's like he was just trying to clean up a mess, and I feel bad
Yeah,
for him. And it's a
I
mess.
just it is a mess. It's a mess of a movie. It's a mess of a premise.
It's
Like
not a dog alien. That's
it's
I
got a
mean
baby
that's
alien too.
yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, and and the baby alien comes back in four.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that. Oh man, what a mess that is. Like
where
I don't
they
know
have
if we want to
cloned
cover
Ripley.
yeah.
Yeah, and she's got the wet look all the time.
What's interesting about that is
Hmm.
Sigourney Weaver, in order to make three, she demanded that Ripley die, right? Because she
Yeah.
was like, there's nothing more to do with the character, right? And three did this thing where they killed some really like crucial characters. Three really spits all over aliens.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah.
It,
It takes two, and it's just like no,
yeah,
no,
no,
no. Like
w-
everything
yeah,
that happened, they died. They're all dead.
right. And
You like
and
those
it's like
people? They're dead.
And it's like we're gonna do Alien again, but worse.
Yeah,
And that's pretty much what they did. I mean,
yeah.
it's rough. But Alien Resurrection was made by the director of Amelie.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah, exactly that. Nailed it.
Yeah.
And oh, and, it it feels like it's one of the strangest movies. I remember I sat and watched it in the movie theater, and
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like
Oh,
anything I've seen.
I have a memory of this movie.
Oh dear.
I do. I do. I remember my friend Sean defending this movie because of Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
I don't
Uh,
trust anyone named Sean.
he's like, no, no, it's a good movie. Like this director's a good director,
I mean,
and
he is. He is a
and
good
like
director.
he's got all his guys in it. You know, he's got
I
Dominique Pignon,
did
Ron Perlman. You know,
did this friend that you've made up
hmm
say that? Because that doesn't feel like something he said.
like he implied it. He said it about the director, but he didn't really bring up the actors so much.
I mean, I I struggle with like I don't want to mispronounce that director's name. He's a fantastic director, and
Oh, go on, give it a try.
you already did such a fantastic job. I think
I
it's
think it's Jean Pierre Jeunet.
Jeanette. Yeah, Jean Pierre Jeanette. I
Yeah, I
think
think that's
I mean But the guy is a fantastic director. Amelie,
Mhm.
Delicatessen, City of
Yeah,
Lost
yeah.
Children.
You said you really resonate with the landlord in Delicatessen.
I have never said
Oh, sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
that. Oh, that's a really specific like barb. That's really someone that's so weird. But no, people have to go watch the Delicatessen. Um,
Uh,
but what a misfire as far as Alien Resurrection. They do this thing where so
it's true.
H.R. Giger is this fantastic, crazy artist who designs like uh, wild, kind of psychosexual
Mm-hmm.
work. But he
Yeah,
designed it, right? He designed the original Xenomorph, which
right.
is kind of pushed that series forward. It's really been, I think, the strength of the cast, which Alien 3 kind of destroyed,
Yeah, yeah.
and his design work. And at the end of Alien Resurrection, they create a new creature, which is a
It's terrible.
baby alien.
The,
It's
I think it says "mama" at
yeah,
one point.
it says "mama" while it's being sucked out a hole in the ship, and
Yeah.
it's embarrassing.
It is. It is embarrassing, and it's like it's a nightmare creature. Like, not in a good way either.
Right.
It looks like a Clive Barker drawing.
It does.
It's not. It doesn't feel like a Giger,
No.
and maybe that's what they're breaking from. But you know, like I think you. I want to circle back to your love affair with like directors.
Okay.
Okay,
Right. Me
uh,
or your
uh,
friend Sean?
my friend Sean.
Okay.
He will defend people. Like, do you remember the Panic Room?
Yeah.
Do you remember how my friend Sean said that was a really good movie?
I don't know your friend Sean, but
Oh,
I
I
I haven't
I,
seen Panic Room in about 15 years, but I
I
remember
dare
it being a good movie.
I dare my friend Sean to go back and watch that movie again because
Well,
he's like, it's David Fincher. David Fincher does no wrong. He's like the best. He's like the coolest guy ever. He's totally not just a bro. You know,
it's totally
like
not a bro. That's
yeah.
not the thing that your friend said.
He's like I mean, granted, 7 out of the park, right?
Yeah, fantastic.
Zodiac's very good too.
Yeah, Zodiac straight.
Yeah, like I mean, there's so many hits, so many hits.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say that Panic Room was not one of them.
Well, again, I don't know your friend Sean. It's weird that you just bring up this person
Well,
and
it
be
was
talking to me
relevant because
about
of how much he loved Jean Pierre
it.
and
Hey,
how he's like telling me Resurrection has its merits, and I was
Amelie,
like,
Amelie
uh,
is awesome.
Amelie's every Micmacs is awesome. If you haven't seen that, watch that one. I watched it with my son. It was
Yeah.
probably a mistake. Um, like there's a scene where they hire 2 adult actors to play a part in the movie. And it's French, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the way you dance around things.
it's, I'm running to tango to do this podcast.
Yeah. Have you
Um,
been taking classes? Because, man, you're a good
but
dancer.
yeah, it's very good. But I wouldn't say because I like that movie that I don't know, Alien, Alien Resurrection. What's a good
Alien
film?
Resurrection is it's bad. I
Wait,
I
do
I
you
do not
remember this guy defending it? I mean,
no, I don't.
really? I'm pretty sure he was there at Sherry's with you.
That that makes
Champagne
me
Sean,
sad.
we called him.
Champagne Sean sounds like an ass. Um, well, here's what I have to say
Uh-huh.
about that entire situation is it
Yes.
sounds like you talked to this friend
Mhm.
years ago,
Yeah.
like probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, and it's burned into my mind.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it feels like this is just coming from me, a completely different Sean, but it feels like people grow.
Mhm.
And it feels like you're ignoring his possible growth over 20 years and trying to hold him to things that he said a long time ago.
No, that might be true. And with the dog cueing it, I think that might be time for us today.
All right. Well,
But
that was
we'll be
really
back.
fun.
We'll be back next week, or well, actually, we'll be back when we're back, and we'll be watching the game.
Are we watching the game? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I was
that's a
just looking at.
surprise.
I was going over the
That's
IMDb,
a
and I was
good
like, "Oh
Fincher.
crap!"
That's a good
Yes,
Fincher.
yes, it is. It's a very
Okay.
good Fincher.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not saying we should watch it because it's bad. I really, really enjoyed the game. Yeah,
I'm
and
not
I
defending your
haven't seen
friend
it since the
Sean.
first time I saw it.
I'm not defending your friend Sean, but the game was good.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
maybe I should say, I don't know, because I haven't seen it in years, but I remember it being good.
Well,
So,
I'm Lair, and that's Champagne Sean, and we wish
and
you
no, that's a different person.
champagne wishes and caviar dreams. All right.
All right.
Anyway, we'll be back.
See you
And
guys
next time,
later.
we'll be watching the game. Bye. Okay, there we go.